to In the Hot Seat with WRP, where our mission is to inspire entrepreneurship through engaging conversation. Today, we have a special guest who is a real estate advisor, and she is tearing up these Atlanta streets. With no further ado, I'd like to introduce Miss Nina Lauren Salim. How are you doing, Nina?
I am doing really good today. How are you doing?
I can't complain. Great to have you on my show.
I am happy to be here. I'm really
Okay.
excited. I know we've been having this on the books for a while now, and I am here. So
Okay.
let's get into it. I'm in the
Okay.
hot seat today.
All right. Tell the viewers and the listeners a little bit about yourself, your background, where you're from. Were you born with a silver spoon in your mouth?
You know, these are great questions, and unfortunately, that last answer is no.
Okay.
But no, I'm from Atlanta, born and raised. Actually born here, born at Piedmont Hospital on Peachtree Street. Okay, it doesn't get any more Atlanta than that.
So you're not a Grady baby.
I was gonna say, although some would argue that Grady does get more Atlanta than that, but you know, back then Grady was not the place that you wanted to be born. So hey, now it's the heart of Atlanta. But yeah, I'm from Atlanta, born at Piedmont. I actually graduated high school from the East Side in DeKalb County.
Okay.
And then I even went to college in Georgia. I went to Georgia Southern University and graduated from there. So yeah.
So you just stayed right here in Georgia.
You know what? During that time, I did. I really, really, really did. Yep. So since I have definitely traveled a little bit and moved to North Carolina to Charlotte and ended up moving back here to Atlanta. And who knows if I'll stay here forever. But yeah.
Okay. What do you do? What career are you involved in right now?
Right now, I am in the real estate industry.
Okay.
A very popular industry, a very booming industry, an ever-changing industry. But that is the career that I am in right now, working, entrepreneurship, business owner in that field. And, I'm really loving the journey. It's been great.
Were you always involved in real estate, or did you happen to just ease your way into it, or somebody say something to you? Or did you do anything else before becoming a real estate advisor?
See, before that, I've done a lot of things, right? I think maybe just in the era that we grew up of going to school, getting good grades, getting a scholarship, going to college, all of that. And to go back to a little bit about the background, I did all of those things, right? I done all the steps that we're supposed to do. However, getting there, I didn't know what I wanted to do at 17, going on 18, moving out of my parents' house, my mom's house, and deciding a career for the rest of my life. So going back to what we were talking about, I've done a lot of things, prior to real estate. I guess most notably and most consistently was working in the marketing space, like the corporate marketing space. I did that for years, started out at one level at brand ambassador, product specialist, even promotional model. It's all the same thing for years and years and years. And then I began managing in that area. So doing like corporate event marketing, which was really great and really, really, really fun. It really fit to my personality, being a people person and, just overcoming challenges and just doing fun stuff, meeting people. So another thing that I did also prior to real estate was teaching. I became a public school teacher. I taught in the state of Georgia. I also taught in the state of North Carolina when I lived in Charlotte.
How long were you a teacher?
I was a teacher for about 6 years.
Wow.
I started off doing high school, and then that was in Charlotte, and then I came back to Georgia, and I decided to do elementary school. So that's what I did prior to real estate. Yeah.
And I'm sure there's a big difference between elementary school and high school.
It is. I thought I was going to love the difference, and I realized that I actually enjoyed high school more.
Okay.
Yeah.
And then you saw the light. You was like, I need to make some more money.
It was that. I think what it was is, my mom bought a house for us when I was in elementary school, and she was a single parent because my father passed away when I was very young. But, I'm thankful that she took that journey. She had a real estate agent, obviously, back then, who she's still friends with today, and who recently, as a vet in the game for that many years, over 30 years, who recently joined the brokerage that I'm at today,
Wow.
So I think that speaks also to the growth of, the brokerage and maybe even the industry. But anywho, so my mom bought a house, when we were in elementary school. She stayed pretty close with that agent. And although that wasn't a thought in my mind at the time, as I got older and as I wanted to do different things, and then also seeing a lot of real estate agents, I mean, it looked like they were living the great life, not just the good life, but the great life. And I think it looks like that to a lot of other people that are wanting to come into the industry and new to the industry. I did have an awakening. I don't know if I would call it a rude awakening, but I had an awakening when I did get licensed, because it wasn't that easy. It's not just getting licensed and, act like you're on Selling Sunset, or at least not for me and not for a majority of people. So that's really how I initially thought about it. And it was just in the back of my mind. I started going to some real estate events, and I became more and more intrigued. At the time, a friend of mine who was, in my life, really was encouraging me. They are an investor of many different homes. And I was talking about that, and they were like, "Why don't you do it?" And I'm like, "I don't know." You know how you like, it's something brand new you don't know about. I didn't have any mentors or friends or anything in this space. And so, he was just really encouraging. He was just like, "You should do it. As a matter of fact, tell me the class. I'll take care of it." So it just literally was that. It was so quick. And I think we signed up on a Friday, paid for it, and I started on a Monday. That's how quick it was.
Wow.
And, thankfully I got through it pretty easy. I passed the school exam, and then I passed the state exam the first time, so, because it was tough,
Yeah.
People think that real estate agents are dummies. And I mean, I can't speak for everybody, but I know I'm not. And I know that test was very hard. So, yeah.
So do you work with sellers, buyers, investors, all of them? Who do you work with?
Well, yeah, I mean, I work with sellers and buyers. I would say almost equally. And a lot of the times they end up becoming like a 2-for-1 or one in the same, A lot of the times, your buyer who may purchase a house right now is going to end up selling, and your seller is going to sell their house, and they may be simultaneously looking to buy another property as well. In the buying space, you do come across some investors because they are also buyers. So buyers/investors. But I don't primarily focus on just investors that are only doing fix and flips all the time. Although I have worked with some of them if they do have a high volume. So, yeah, I work with buyers and I work with sellers.
You spread the wealth.
Yeah, yes. I mean, it to me, like I said, it's all kind of like one and the same.
Yeah.
I think to be a good real estate agent, it's all about knowledge for me and education, obviously, as a former educator. So it's all about education for me, just keeping myself updated, knowing as much as I can, being able to provide the best service on both sides. Because if I don't know what's going on the selling side, because I only represent buyers, how can I be a good buyer's agent if I don't know what the seller's agent is doing over there? I need to know that strategy as well. Yes. I need to know how they're thinking and all those different things. So yes, I do. Okay. I do it all.
All right. And I also noticed that you do a little event planning also. How did you get involved in event planning?
I do. So now it's a little bit more selective when I choose to do events. But, right into my transition into real estate, and obviously before that, I did do events. And so that came from, remember I was talking about me doing the corporate marketing, the corporate event marketing and things like that. I had so much experience with events from that at a corporate level and really big budgets that we were working with. What happened is that COVID happened, and so I was known for doing a lot of different events and all over, with that corporate arena. And so when COVID happened, everything corporate shut down. I think we remember that. Everything corporate shut down. I mean, there was nothing going on at all. No travel, no events, no nothing. And so from there, I transitioned to doing more of, person to person events as opposed to just business to business type of events. It was crazy, and definitely through my network of people who I'm so thankful for, I actually got into like celebrity event planning, and then not just celebrities, but then word just got out. I was sharing my designs, my productions, my events, and things like that, and people were catching on. They were loving it. They were reaching out for their own events, and that was great. I feel like I'm definitely a creative at heart. I love to, just design things and put things together, and that's how I got into the event side of things, and it was great. I really, really, really enjoyed it. Real estate at that time had definitely been on my mind. So when I had that push from my friend to just go ahead and dive into it, I did. And then I took about maybe a year or so, just really like learning and figuring things out before I even really posted about it. I was licensed for a whole year before I even started posting about it. So I was doing that, and then obviously still doing the events because that was my livelihood at the time. And once I sold a few homes, or I ain't gonna say a few, but once I sold a number of homes, I decided that, you know what, you can't give 100% to two different things, right? Because that's 200%.
Yeah.
So, and then 50% when you're trying to start a new business, that's not enough. So I had to kind of focus and let myself know and make the decision. Laser focused on real estate and growing that. So events and design and all of that is still my passion. And I also incorporated into the real estate realm, you know what I'm saying, with design and just creating things. So that's how I got into the event space.
And you said you sold a few homes. You was very modest. You probably sold a number of homes, that first year, huh?
Oh, with my first year license?
Your first year license.
No, my first year license, I didn't sell any homes because remember, I was learning pretty much.
Okay.
And then you have all these requirements. You have to take all these continuing education classes and all these different hours. I think it was like 80 something hours of continuing education, and me just trying to figure it out. I'm like a fish out of water. I'm like, what does all this even mean? You have to think about contracts. You have to know what you're talking about. There's a lot of, as an attorney, there's a lot of different things, paperwork and contracts and things like that for somebody brand new. You need to know. You need to know where you're going to pull information from because you're not going to know everything. You need to know how to service your clients. So my first year I did not do.
So after that first year, you started selling homes.
I did. Okay. I did.
Let me ask you this. You say you are an entrepreneur. How did you learn to be an entrepreneur? Did somebody teach you, or did you just say, you know what, I'm just going to do it? Because you have people who are business owners. They run a business. An entrepreneur, they spread themselves because they want to get multiple streams of income. And which I think that's great, in this area that we're in today, because if something dries up, you can still have money coming from another stream somewhere else. And the biggest thing I learned being an entrepreneur is Uncle Sam, taxes.
Yeah.
How did you deal with that? When you get these commission checks and you're like, okay, I got this money coming in, you have to be disciplined. Because Uncle Sam's going to get his money.
Exactly. That's very true.
How did you deal with that?
It was a learning lesson.
Okay.
Coming into this industry, amongst other industries that any of us dive into, but definitely coming into the real estate industry, I had a lot of just lessons. And so that was one of them. Like you said, you get your commission check and it looks great. You're like, man, I'm rich. I'm with a great brokerage. We have a split. I do like our split that we have, but that's one thing. That's number one right there. So you get your check, you get your percentage, right? And then your brokerage takes a percentage too. Now, of course, you have the opportunity to continue to sell. You reach what's called a cap, and you don't have to give any more percentage of your checks to the brokerage once you reach that. So that's good. But starting off, I definitely wasn't there. So you have that cut. And then, you have what's coming to you after the fees, the attorneys and things like that. And like I said, I'm like, man, this is a great check.
Yeah.
Let me go on vacation. Let me do this. Let me do that. And it was definitely just like a wake up call when it was time to file taxes.
Yeah.
Because, you might be, it's just a wake up call. You have to think about
Yeah.
that in advance. And so what a lot of people do is once you get that, you take a certain percentage and you just put it
away.
aside. You just put it aside.
Yeah.
You pretend like it's not there, because it's better to go ahead and have it and maybe even have too much to pay what you owe in taxes.
Yeah.
As opposed to not, and not to say that you won't have it, because if you're producing, then you may still have it, obviously, but you may be looking at taking your whole check from, that one or that two transactions to pay your taxes when you could have just been depositing it as, just using it as a regular check. So it was definitely a lesson because, majority of my jobs before the taxes came
Yeah, they
out.
already
Like
came-
most
yeah,
jobs, your
yeah.
taxes come out. So that was definitely a lesson to answer your question. So now I know what to do.
Yeah, I mean, I'm still learning, and I got up early this morning because I'm in the process of getting ready to make a big purchase, and I know that they want to see my 2023 taxes. So I'm getting all my paperwork, from a bookkeeper,
Right.
because why am I going to go in there and start it when I know they're going to, ask for it?
Exactly.
But I'm not in a rush. But once you go through it once, you're like, okay, I get it. But yeah, it's a hard lesson to learn if you're not disciplined. It's a hard lesson to learn. So how's your journey been so far, Nina, as a real estate advisor?
It's been a good journey. It's been a good journey. There's definitely been some lessons. It's been some ups and downs just through learning and going through whatever it is, different ways to market myself, learning how to best do that, trying things. I've learned a lot from other people, in the business, and just from general business practices and tactics. And, the thing is, and it's always out there through many quotes, right, that are really popular, but, what's for you is for you. And that means that although you can learn so much stuff, which is great. I mean, you want to learn, you try it and then you figure out maybe that's not your way of doing things. That doesn't fit your personality or whatever that might be. You just have to kind of try until you figure out what works. Same thing for me getting into real estate. Like I said, I've had a lot of different positions, jobs, and done a lot of different things. But you have to try. You have to try if you want to do something, and then just figure out the best way. So my journey has been an overall great journey.
Okay.
But I definitely have gone through different things that have taught me lessons. That have been a blessing, and that's really all it was either a blessing or a lesson, right? And even that lesson was a blessing. So in this industry, like a lot of industry industries, you're meeting a lot of different people, not just your clients and your customers, but everybody else that's involved in the whole process. It's all about relationships.
We hope you're enjoying the information you're getting from the channel. Please stay tuned and In the Hot Seat with WRP and subscribe.
Not to say that it's been a perfect journey, because it hasn't. And if anything seems too perfect, we should probably take a little second look at that. So it's definitely been a lot of lessons, a lot of blessings for sure. Just figuring out what works for me, basically. I know another part of your question was, how did I find this journey and take the steps that I'm taking? How did I become a business owner, an entrepreneur, those different things? And, I did learn from a lot of people that are in my life that are in the same industry. I also learned from general business practices and other business owners and even some corporate executives, because some of the things that they do that are successful is still all about, being disciplined, doing the right thing, time management, working smarter, not harder. And this just staying up to date. We're in a time now where things are just changing so rapidly. The technology is what in the world? So, I definitely, it's been a good journey for sure. And I've learned a lot. But another thing too is just learning so much. I felt like at one point I was just going to every conference, getting on every mastermind, listening to every YouTube, taking all these workshops, doing all these classes, right? Just trying to learn, which is great. But I didn't want to just remain or become a professional learner, right? Yeah. So the other part of that is taking the information and prioritizing, what your goals are too. So if education is a part of that, a consistent part of that, that's great. Make sure that you're doing that, but then you also have to make sure that you're on top of everything else in your time block or whatever your goals are. And everything that you're taking in, you have to figure out if it works for you or not. Absolutely. You're learning all these different things from all these different people in all these different places, and it worked for them, It doesn't mean it's going to work for you, So you have to kind of, trial and error. And then also just, and in this business and in a lot of businesses, at the end of the day, people are choosing you because they like you, whatever it is about you, whether they think that you are a great people person, whether they think that you are good at explaining, whether they think that you are experienced, whether they think that you're nice and kind, or whether they think that you are a bull and you're a go-getter, so they trust you to advocate on their behalf. Whatever that looks like, they want to work with you because of you. So you have to do things that work for you, and only you know that. You know what I mean? If you're going to be someone else and try to be everybody else, I think in this industry and in life in general, it's not going to work out as best as it could, right? Because you're not even attracting the people that are for you. Yeah. And that is also in business.
Where do you get your inspiration from?
That's a good question. I get my inspiration from my goals. I get my inspiration from my goals, what I want out of my life, ultimately, where I want to end up in life, and then also from, my past. So I had a very much life-changing situation a little over 10 years ago. And I was teaching at the time. I was also about to join the Air Force. I was really excited about that. Yes. Passed the test, scored high, had, everything kind of planned out as far as what I was going to do. And, the day I was supposed to swear in, it was something really small that stopped them and that stopped me. They were like, I don't know. It was the most simple thing, too. I had done all the other tests and passed everything. And they were like, your heartbeat sounds a little muffled. That was the only thing, right? I had done everything else. I was swearing in that day. And so they wouldn't pass me because of that. I couldn't swear in. Just because, this very simple, breathe in and breathe out. And they just said, your heartbeat sounds a little muffled. Like, we just want to see more about that. So they sent me to, not the same day, but they sent me to a cardiologist. And, long story short, it was not good news because at that point, that is a heart specialist that had done different tests and x-rays or, all these different things that they have, not a doctor, but whatever the tools are that they have and can look and can, just kind of determine things. And so apparently, I had a severely enlarged heart. My valve, one of my valves in my left side, was not closing all the way, and so therefore, as they're supposed to go through each chamber, obviously, one was not getting enough blood into the other chamber, while the other one was flushing it back while having it come in from another chamber. So it was like it was coming backwards and coming in. So. It was severely enlarged, is what they said. It was a valve issue. And so, always been a pretty healthy person, worked out, ate good. So my mom and some other family members were like, oh, that's insane. That's crazy. What? So we got a second opinion. And it was the same.
Thing.
And they suggested that, you should probably go and talk to a heart surgeon like ASAP. And I did that. And I just went to go talk to the heart surgeon, and I left from there with a heart surgery date on the calendar. Within like a couple of weeks. So this all happened so fast. I didn't even know what was going on. I'm like, what happened? And so I ended up having heart surgery. And I was not even 30 yet. So yeah, it was very crazy. It happened so fast. Any
heart issues in your mom, your dad, and your family?
No, there was nothing hereditary that was known. Of course, when you go back a generation or two, right, from our parents and our grandparents, they may not have known of certain conditions. The technology wasn't the same. So from what we knew, no, not at all. But yeah, that's what happened. And it was a lot, not only, I'm like, your heart and your brain are like the things that you need right, in order to live, amongst other things, obviously, but your heart is pumping blood throughout your whole body. So I'm like, it couldn't be any more severe, right? I'm like, it's not like I had a broken ankle or wrist or something like that. So so that was something extremely important, life-changing, life-altering. Again, I was joining the Air Force. That was a decision I was very proud of. And
the day you're supposed to be getting sworn in.
I was supposed to swear in that day. And so that obviously changed that course for what I planned for my life. But, we can't do it all, right?
Yeah.
God has plans for us. So obviously that did not happen. That's why I ended up moving back to Georgia, is because I ended up having my heart surgery here at Emory St. Joseph's with a specific surgeon who was known for being like the best robotics heart surgeon like in the whole country and even parts of the world. So I came here and then I had to heal and all of that. So everything after that was literally like starting over. It was like starting anew. And so obviously, like I said, my life plans that I had, they did not work out. And then on top of that, I had something else going on. And so that's a major inspiration. Just the fact that although at the time I was very just confused and like disappointed, like what in the world? I'm supposed to be going to the Air Force. What is going on? And now I have to have heart surgery? What in the world? So, that was one thing, but, going through that and healing from that and just getting through it was a whole nother thing. At the end of the day, I was dead on a table. I was sitting on a table. My heart was stopped. My lungs were deflated. My body was opened up. It was a lot. And, just coming back from that is, you can't explain that. It's only something that you can go through. So just having a chance at life, realizing that the path that I chose at that time obviously was not the path for me. And so, like I mentioned earlier, just trying things that, you don't know until you try. And then you go into it and you learn and you put your all into it and you just remain yourself through it all. So that has been a big inspiration for me because I know that I'm supposed to be here. So I have a purpose and I have to figure out what that purpose is and make sure that, again, I'm being myself at all times and just progressing the way that I want and keeping my goals, right? We have to stay disciplined and we have to know ourselves. We have to learn ourselves. And that's a constant thing because we're constantly evolving. So
absolutely.
Major point of inspiration.
Okay. Do you have any mentors who help you right now as a real estate advisor?
I do. I actually met you through one of my mentors.
Okay.
Terry. So that was my mentor when I got with my current brokerage that I'm with now. I met her and, we just connected on a personal level, but I just loved everything that she had already learned and grew. Her husband as well, just the things that they do, that they have done, their knowledge of the industry, and honestly, just their willingness to spread it out, to spread the knowledge. So, yes.
Selfless, both of them.
Yes, both of them very selfless and very successful. You know what I mean? These aren't your average podcasters out here, or your average people that have all these workshops and things that you can purchase online that, and there's nothing wrong with that, by the way, but some people don't even really know what they're talking about, right?
Absolutely.
They're just making money and they're good at marketing and good for them. They're great marketers, but they don't even know what they're talking about. They're putting things together. taking courses and stealing that information and then slapping their name on it, and now they have a course. So yeah, my mentor, one of my mentors, like we're talking about, they actually know what they're talking about. They've done it. They're doing it, and so, she has been a huge help in just so many ways with me growing, becoming a better person in business and also in this industry. And, I have mentors that I decided a while ago to try and get mentors in other areas of life, right? Because if you're laser focused on your business, which is great, but then your personal life is in shambles, your spiritual life is non-existent, your house and your car are looking like a junkyard. There are just so many different things that you really just have to have your life together.
Yes.
Not just your business together.
Yeah.
You got to have your life together. So I decided, a while ago to gradually get mentors in other spaces just to help me, and I learned that from going to one of these classes, workshops. And like I said, some things you'll take from it that make sense for you and other things don't. But yeah, mentorship, I think, is extremely important, and it has helped me a lot.
And it's funny how the universe works. Like you said, you can't just have, my personal life is great, my business life is in shambles. Everything has to work in unison, and people don't understand that until you really get into it and start that personal development.
Right. I agree wholeheartedly.
Okay.
It's been proven.
And you said something about technology. I want to touch on technology in the real estate industry. How has technology changed since you've been a real estate advisor from the traditional role? Think about it, traditionally, buyer and seller sell their house. You don't have this technology. They're showing the home. Seller's not at the home. They didn't have all this technology that they have nowadays. How has that affected the real estate industry with buyers and sellers and investors and the internet?
Oh, the internet. Oh, well, I would say, the internet in general, and then technology. Now I think with the use of cameras everywhere, drones included as another camera, you can see everything. So now you have what they call iBuyers, internet buyers. And, a lot of the times they never see the property in person, but they've seen the neighborhood. They've seen what it looks like above the house, the whole neighborhood. They've seen a whole drive-through the neighborhood. They've seen the house through tooth and nail, everything, the virtual walkthroughs. All of those things. And then, like I said, the cameras everywhere. So that's one thing that's very different. You have investors that may not even step foot in Georgia, but probably own 50, 100 homes, that they've never been to. Also, just with the internet and more information being out there and being accessible for real estate agents, we can pull up everything about a house, which is also great. Just seeing how it's recorded in the county, what it's recorded under, the information, the square footage, just everything. So that's another great thing as well for agents, because sometimes people live in a house, but they don't know every single thing by heart about the house. So that's good too. But definitely, I would say with the use of AI tools and things like that, I think it helps everybody all around. It pulls information from everywhere in such a short amount of time, and you asking something specific or to create something for you, I think it helps us in our field. It's definitely helped me a lot. But with technology, it's just, the possibilities are endless. It's literally taken probably from 15, 20, 25 years ago to now. I feel like we can do literally everything. We can do everything. A lot of the times, now of course with us, we take our clients to go see homes, but Supra is a thing. I heard that back in the day, Super, you actually had to have like a physical key or something similar. Now you have it just on your phone through an app, but it is still integrated with you as a licensed agent. It can only be on one phone at a time. And if you take it off your phone, you still have to get it re-registered. But it shows you your whole history of different places and different homes that you viewed, how long you were in there when you opened it, when you put it back. It's a lot. So it's a lot of good stuff. And it's very helpful too. It's helpful on the buyer side for me showing homes, and it's helpful for me on the seller side representing an owner, because I put that on there and I don't have to go to the house to show the house every time somebody wants to see it. The buyer's agent does that, and then they have access too. So, I mean, it's so many different things when it comes to marketing your business. You don't even really have to put things together in the same exact way as you would have before, utilizing the different AI tools to even add your voice that you're not even speaking. You type it up, you record your voice a number of different times, and it has your voice. It has your dialect. It kind of has your twang on how you talk. You type in some things, bam, it does it for you. You say, I want this to play over this type of thing, and then it creates the whole video with your voice and graphics and video and things like that. So I think from all different sides, and I guess not honing in on this too much because I love it. I'm learning so much about it. I utilize it, but just not to hone in too much. But yeah, from every single angle, I think technology has been really, really good and advancing. So,
Are you involved with your your local community?
I am, yes. I'm involved with my local community in a number of different ways. One of the things that I'm still excited about is, I'm a current stakeholder at Rice, at the Russell Innovation Center for Entrepreneurs. If you haven't heard of them, definitely look them up. I mean, they just are such a great impact on the community, helping and assisting, providing resources and so many different things to entrepreneurs. They have made significant strides since I first, learned about them and became involved with them years ago. And I just love them. So shout out to Rice, shout out to Jay Bailey, and the partnerships that they have and the opportunities that they provide to us as stakeholders. So that's one way. And like I said, we're involved in the community with that in so many different ways. Also with nonprofit organizations, just volunteering when I can. Donating money as well. I've done so with school systems, nonprofit organizations. I'm actually a vendor with a couple school districts right now, just providing workshops and information and things like that, knowledge, right? Because the community is who is not only, if the community wasn't there, then I wouldn't have a job that I'm doing, right?
Absolutely.
And so we have to make sure that we are giving back to the community. And, I provide my services and take pride in them at every single price point, price point. I've had, what they would deem as like average price homes, as well as investor homes. Investor homes are a lot of the times very much under, because they're an investor. They're not looking to spend their cash on something that's a lot. And I've also done luxury homes. So I say that to say that, getting in the community, you have everybody there. So whether it is with nonprofits, whether it's me doing my own workshops and then my own network of people coming out to listen and to get information and to then get help. I've gotten clients from doing those, the relationships that I've built with the nonprofit organizations and the school districts, my stakeholder, ship at different places and things like that. It's been really, really good. So yes, I volunteer, I donate money, and then I really just try to add value. I think once you add value, people see that and they want to work with you. You're adding value.
Okay, Nina, if someone came up to you and asked you, Nina, I want to be just like you. I want to be a real estate advisor. What would you tell them?
Well, I would have to ask some questions first.
Okay.
I would ask them, well, first, I guess I would say thank you, because I don't, it's just me. So I don't necessarily see myself that way, but I would ask them, well, what makes you want to become a real estate advisor, to become a realtor, become a real estate agent? and then listen to that, and then ask them if they know anything about the industry and what attracted them to it.
Well, they might say, I want to make the money. I see all this stuff on TV. I see what they, all the fly houses, the cars and everything. I want to get that money.
Right. So from there, I would definitely, well, I think we know where this is going, right? But I mean, I would find a way to just kind of let them know, like, if your sole focus and your sole purpose is just coming in to make some money, I'm not saying that you will fail. I'm saying that you won't be your greatest, number one. And number two, it may not work out how you think because there's going to be a lot of work involved. I mean, unless you are like the people that we do see on some of these shows, right?
And can you elaborate on that work? Because that's what I want, you to hone in on, because a lot of people, they forget about the work that has to go into it.
Yeah. I'm like, if you think you're just going to get licensed and come in and make a million bucks, again, it's an anomaly. It's possible, but that's not typically how it's going to work for a majority of the people. You don't know anything. You need to know as much as you can, right? You can get sued in this industry. You can. Your brokerage can. Again, these are contracts. These are hundreds of thousands of dollars, millions of dollars that people are spending on properties, so there's a lot of liability tied up here. You need to know what you're doing, and you need to take the time to learn that. And you're not going to learn that in a couple of days. You need to know how to market yourself as a business owner or entrepreneur in this space. You need to find out what works for you. You need to connect with your network. You need to meet new people. You need to stay up to date with everything that's going on. You need to know how to work both sides. You need to know how to not just market yourself. How are you going to market a property? What value are you going to bring to a seller, to an owner? This is Atlanta's a very saturated place.
What's going to make you stand out?
Exactly, right. What's going to make you stand out? And before you even stand out, do you even know what you're talking about? Do you even know what you're doing? Are you even up to date with what's going on? Or are you just taking pictures and posting in cars and in wonderful outfits and going to great places, which is all fun. But, I would definitely try to let them know what my reality has been and what I think is just a general reality in coming into this industry. And that is, well, one, if that is your sole purpose, you're not going to fly the way that you should fly. And then number two, it's a lot of work. It is a lot of work, and it is continuous work. Even once you have the clients and even once you have the transactions, you get them, you think you just go under contract and that's it? Oh, no. No.
I mean, getting a license, that's the easy thing. Okay, you got the license. Okay, now the work starts.
Now it starts. Now it begins. Yeah, you're dealing with so many people throughout these transactions. Again, you're not just dealing with your client and your customer. You have your inspector, your inspection company that you deal with. You have the appraisals. You have your attorneys that you work with. You may have, after you get your inspection, you may need some other vendors. You may need pest control. You may need plumbing, electrical. I've had clients that, bought the house and they wanted to get estimates on tree cutting because they knew already they didn't want that many trees in this particular area. So it's just knowing things, having resources, building relationships. When I get ready to go under contract, and I think that I am, I reach out to my preferred inspection companies because, we have due diligence. We want to take advantage of that. But I reach out to my inspection companies because I'm like, you know what? Hey, I think I'm about to go under contract. Can we get you in there tomorrow morning? Those are relationships, because sometimes people may tell you 3 days, 4 days, and your due diligence is only 5 days. We get it in, we get it done, we go over it if we need to have a specialist come out. But anyway, it's about just having your resources, having your things together, having everything that you need so that you can do the best job.
And you said relationships, you got to have a team. And just because you meet somebody one time, that's not the end of it. You have to foster that honesty, that trust between them. And that's what's critical in any type of business. You know that.
Yeah.
Build that relationships, let's foster it. Because you may never know, I may shoot somebody your way just because of, how we vibe. And I'm constantly out there building new relationships, because
Yeah.
you never know who I may run into.
Yeah.
Same
yeah.
thing as a real estate advisor.
Yeah.
And people don't understand the importance of relationships.
Yep. Yep. And I am so big on that. I think, honestly, just looking back to every job that I've had, everything that I've embarked on, it was all about just relationships and people. I mean, you think about being an educator, that's all about relationships and people, a very important part of people and relationships. Because it's not just the students; it's also your administration staff, the parents. You know, your responsibility. You're really immersed in those children's lives, and then going back into the marketing and event situation in corporate. I mean, that's marketing. That's all it is networking and dealing with people. So all of that has taken me here, and I'm so glad that you said that, because relationships are extremely important, and people sometimes don't even recognize that. They take advantage of that. And, you know, your relationships and that networking is what's going to catapult you and help you, may even save you in some situations, you know.
Absolutely.
Those relationships. And most importantly, it can't be fake. I go back to being yourself, being you, being genuine. Because a lot of the times, you know, we may have been bamboozled here and there, but a lot of times human nature, we can pick up when things are,
Oh yeah.
you know, when it's fake,
Yeah.
when it's not real, when it's not genuine. And at that point, you really want to stay as far away as you can, even if you see them everywhere, and you just smile and say, hey, and things like that.
Keep it moving.
You're not really connecting. You're not building. You're not adding value. They're not looking out for you. You're not looking out for them, type of thing. But yeah, relationships are extremely important. I stand by that. I love doing that too. I really just love meeting people and building relationships where it falls. Everybody's not your person. Don't force things. But
Absolutely.
if it does, you know, foster it, stay in touch, you know, ask what you can do to help that person, especially if they help you. So yeah, that's a very, very, I'm glad you talked about that, because that is extremely important. And that's been a major part of my business. My business is probably about, I would say, and again, I'm not a mathematician, but I would guess maybe about 85-90% of my business is referral based.
Wow, that's good.
That's pretty much all of my
Yeah.
business.
Yeah.
That is based on relationships. I am, you know, there are other things that I could be doing and will be doing and things like that, but most of my business and my business right now comes from referrals. So
Okay. Well, give the viewers and the listeners a memorable story of a client that you represented, and how did it make you feel and the client feel? Just, I'm sure you probably have many, but give us one, basically a feel-good story. You know, you helped this person, and it just did something, you know, to your soul.
oh wow. Well, there's been a lot of good situations, but let's see, a feel good
You
story.
don't have to say their names, you know, just
Well, man, there's okay. Well, I guess there's a lot.
Okay.
I'll do maybe two quick ones. So
Okay.
there are two different type of feel good stories. One was my very first closing. My very, very first closing. It's a feel good story for me and for them because it was my first closing. I was a newer agent, and you know, when I talk about just being prepared, being knowledgeable, that type of thing. My very first one, it was like a $500,000 house. You know,
Okay.
and for a lot of people starting out, that's, you know, they don't always have the 500 and up, and maybe lower, maybe more, whatever. But it was very good. That was $500,000, my very first home, very first transaction. And although I had mentorship and I had all this information, going through the process is what's going to really matter and really teach you. So it was a couple, and they were very much immersed in the real estate, you know, field, I guess. Like they knew so much. And me just doing everything that I could to show them the professional that I am and that I'm growing to be, right? This is my first transaction. And I amazed myself at times. And then on the inside, I felt like, oh man, I need to go remind myself, I need to go look this up. I need to go learn more about this because we're looking at different homes. We're doing this, we're doing that. The neighborhoods, it was so much. it was good though on both sides, and it ended up just being such a smooth transaction. Still one of my smoothest transactions till this day, years later, because they were so prepared. And I don't know if they knew that was my very first one, but me stepping up to the plate like I should, holding the position that I have with these people and my clients, right? And my responsibility to them to do everything that I need to do and in my power. And if I don't know the answer, to get the resources and not, tell them in a moment, but just really showing up and being there. And we connected so good. They got the house that they wanted. It was, again, one of the smoothest transactions. We got to the closing table, and they were just so happy. So I feel like that was a good story for them, but it was also a good feel-good story for me.
And that was your first transaction?
That was my first transaction, and it was a lot of info. I mean, it's just a lot to know and to do, and getting to the contracts. I mean, you really just have to be committed. You have to be committed to what you're doing, and just know that you're going to provide or commit to providing the best service, being your best self, and, constantly just learning and pulling if you don't know, so that was a good one. I would say another one, there's just so many. There was another couple who, had a young elementary school age child, and they had been renting, and they were tired of renting, and they had a time frame that was pretty short, right? They felt like maybe they couldn't do it. They like 2 months was like our max. We ended up doing it, I think, in about 40, no, it was about 40 days, about a month or so. But they wanted to get in a certain neighborhood, a certain school district, because their child was not doing the best in school at the time. And this is a younger age elementary child, wasn't doing the best in a specific school, and they had just gotten her into this school that they wanted, and felt like she was, surpassing, goals that they had set for her. She was doing so well, just so much better. And this was in a very small neighborhood, sought after neighborhood. And long story short, we found something. It was within their budget. When it comes to down payment and things like that, we got some closing costs and different things, some assistance, but they still needed more. So just really finding different ways, working with the lender, again, relationships, having the right people that you're referring out to your clients. This was a lender who, just really knew their stuff and did not mind taking the time out to explain, to help find different ways to do this and to do that, and how we're going to make this work, right? Because for those that don't know, I mean, if you have a bag of money sitting here and it's enough to buy a house, you still need to do more in order to buy that house, right? Especially if you have a loan involved. So you have to prove where that money's coming from, and is this legit, and all these different things. If it's a gift, from who, from where? So we got through that, through all of the challenges. They really wanted to do that, and we got them in that neighborhood that they really wanted for the future and the success of their family, for their child. It was amazing. The seller actually had higher offers than our offer that were cash, but through some of my other tactics that I won't talk about, you got to call me so I can work with you and represent you. But, through some other tactics, we were able to really connect. And he still chose our offer, because he wanted a family in there. He felt like it was meaningful. This was a house that he was, selling, but then this was also a neighborhood that he had grown attached to. And so, long story short, we got in there. We really made it work from all aspects, not just from them, but from me, from the lender, the attorney, everybody. It was just such a really, really happy day at the closing table. And I was just so proud of them. They're young, too. So I was so proud of them. So that was another feel-good story. But there's many. But those are the two that I could think of.
All right. So I'm going to put you on the hot seat now. Give the viewers and listeners an embarrassing or uncomfortable situation you were in as a real estate advisor, and how did you handle it?
Ooh. I've been in, not that many, but I've been in an uncomfortable situation. Two just came to mind. One was a situation where I had to block somebody, and just call the police to do a report just in case. You know, we're talking about technology, right? And, you know, you put yourself out there as an agent amongst other professions, like working for the government, maybe in law enforcement, or as an educator, so many different things. And then just being on social media, right?
Yeah.
People have access to you through that. Maybe not physically, but if they stalk you enough, I guess they can physically see you
So
too.
you had a
know,
stalker?
I wouldn't call it a stalker, but it was definitely harassing. It was definitely harassing. Initially calling me to do a consultation, and something fell off with the conversation, with the consultation, just from natural instincts and picking up the delay, just the type of questions, so many different things, right? And then, you know, reaching out to me on things that had nothing to do with business, continuously reaching out, you know, even though I then say, you know, well, please stop, all, you know, all that different stuff. And it got a little bit more than that. And it was very concerning. I'm not a person that every time that I'm out, I'm tagging where I'm at the moment. But it was still just kind of like, you just never know at that point. You know what I mean? I don't know what they know or what they've looked up. It was just concerning. And so I had to send a very serious message to him, almost like legally, you know, correct, but, you know, making it so that, you know, just all bullets were outlined, and all, you know, check marks were there. And then, like I mentioned, to block him, and then just make a police report just in case, so that it's on. And the name that I had for him could have not even been his real name, but at least I had it on there. And I screenshot, you know, from social media to my business phone, that type of thing. So that was definitely something that was extremely uncomfortable, but it's also just something that I want to share for women and for men too. You know, people out here aren't just targeting women, they're targeting men, but, you know, women too. And a lot of real estate agents are definitely women. So just being mindful of everything that you do, being mindful that even though you're a professional, this is shared on the internet, everything, right? We have our website, you have your business phone number. Some people even start off with their personal cell phone number when they become a real estate agent. All of that comes up, you know, on your site, on Realtor, on Zillow, whatever is homes.com, everything. And so that can be pulled up. So just be mindful of everything that you are putting out there. Be smart, you know, keep your head on a swivel at all times without being a paranoid person, but just be safe. We do live in 2024. I'm sure all this, you know, things always happen in every century and every decade, but now with technology, is my point in saying 2024, just be mindful, you know, because people have access to you, to your information, to, you know, your address. I mean, anything, your friends, your family, you can, it's crazy, right? It's crazy. And I know what we have access to because, of course, looking up, you know, homeowners and getting information, I've seen it. Like you really can. So just be mindful, be smart, and just try to stay safe at all times. But that has definitely been an uncomfortable one. And then there's been another too, but it was kind of along the same lines of just reaching out to me for something that was not business and taking it too far. So yes.
Okay. So how can someone get in contact with you, Nina? Let everybody know if you have like your business phone, your social media handle. They're looking, you know, for a real estate advisor. Let the viewers and the listeners know how they can get in contact with you.
Sure. So you can visit my website at ninaandassociates.com. So that's NINAAND Associates, ASSOCIATES.com. From there, you have a lot of information about me, about the services that I provide. I'm also a notary public. So when it comes to any type of bulk notary needs and things like that, I can also provide along with my real estate services. And I do real estate services, residential, some commercial. I even have some land listings right now. I'm just all real estate. You'll get a lot more information there. You can also download a couple of free guides that I have, home buyer's guide, home seller's guide, things like that, just to give you a little bit more information on the process. Myself, you can schedule a consultation. I mean, really, you can do everything. You can search homes, you can get a market analysis for your current home to see what it's worth. There's a lot on that website. I do blog posts about industry trends, staying current. So go to my website for sure. You can also reach out by phone at 678-900-9067. But yeah, between those avenues, you can definitely reach me. If you want to keep up with me on a day-to-day basis and take a look at my journey and my successes and just my life a little bit, then you can follow me on Instagram at Miss Nina Lauren. So that's MissNinaLauren. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I'm on other things, but you'll find me. Like I said, it's the internet. Google it. You'll see everything.
Well, I'd like to thank you, for being a guest on In the Hot Seat with WRP. We just like to keep it real, here, Nina. And, we appreciate you. And we are out.